In Umuwaka village, the market was always full of life. Women sold cassava, yam, palm oil, and pepper. But one stall always caught the eye. It was the stall of Adaku, a widow who sold only onions. Her onions were not like the others. They were big, round, and shining, as if rain had just fallen on them. Even after many days under the hot sun, they never dried up or spoiled. Other sellers' onions turned soft and smelly, but Adaku's always looked new. "Where does she find them?" the women whispered among themselves. "No one has ever seen her farm." People stopped buying from the others. They went straight to Adaku's stall. Her onions sold out fast, and she always returned home with money in her wrapper. Some believed she had a secret farmland. Others shook their heads and said, "No, there is something strange here." Adaku never explained. She came quietly at sunrise, sold her onions with a smile, and left when the market was closing. No one ever saw her plant or harvest. Her onions just seemed to appear. The strangest thing was that every month in Umuwaka, a male child died without being sick. Elders sought solution from far and near seers, but nothing changed. The deaths never stopped. It only got worse. Customers were always rushing to Adaku's stall, leaving other sellers angry and bitter. Chinyere, who sold beside her, began to watch closely. She noticed something strange. Each morning, Adaku left her house with only a small basket, but by the time she reached the market, the basket was full to the brim. No one ever saw her carrying loads from a farm, yet she always had more onions than anyone else. "Something is wrong here," Chinyere whispered to Ngozi, another onion seller. "Onions do not grow overnight. Where does she get them?" Men in the market also began to talk. "No farmland in Umuwaka gives onions like that," said Okori, the palm wine tapper, "unless there is some hidden power behind it." Some thought she had inherited a secret farm from her late husband. Others believed she had made friends with spirits. What puzzled them most was that Adaku never cooked with her own onions. She sold them, but never ate them. One hot afternoon, a strange old man walked up to her. His clothes were dusty from travel, and his eyes looked sharp like someone who saw things others could not. He bought a handful of onions, then leaned closer to her ear. "Be careful, woman," he whispered. "The spirits you feed will one day demand more from you." For the first time, fear gripped Adaku. Who is this old man, and how much does he know? Adaku's heart kept racing. Chinyere observed how scared she was after the old man left, but she said nothing. Then an idea crept into her mind. The next day, Chinyere sent out little boys in the village who followed Adaku one night. They hid behind bushes near her compound, waiting to see if she really had a secret farm. The door of her hut opened slowly. Adaku stepped out, holding her basket. She moved quickly through the dark, heading towards the forest. The boys trembled, but kept following at a distance. Adaku heard footsteps. She stopped and turned. The boys hid at the back of a giant tree. Adaku continued walking. They boys were also following, at a distance, scared and terrified, as they walked deeper into the thick forest. Adaku reached the depth of the forest. She knelt beside a giant anthill, whispering incantations. They little boys trembled as they watched the drama unfold. Hours passed. When she finally returned before dawn, her basket was full of onions, more than it could possibly carry. The boys looked at one another in shock. The next morning, they told Chinyere everything they saw. When Chinyere tried to tell everyone, no one believed her. People said she was jealous because Adaku makes more sales than her. "You're doing too much," the elders said. "Mind your business." But the boys knew what they saw. Adaku's onions did not come from any farm in Umuwaka. They came from the forest. And in Umuwaka, everyone knew the forest was not a place to visit at night. Chinyere, still restless, decided to follow Adaku herself, and this time bring evidence. One night, she crept out quietly and trailed behind. The forest was dark and full of strange sounds, but her courage carried her forward. At the heart of the forest, she saw Adaku kneel before a giant anthill. The air grew cold. Chinyere's body shook with fear. But she gathered courage, took out her phone, and began to record everything. Adaku whispered words Chinyere could not understand. Then, slowly, the ground split open. From the red earth, onions began to sprout big, shining, and ready for harvest. Adaku plucked them quickly and filled her basket. But Chinyere's eyes widened as she noticed something. Each onion bled a drop of red liquid before turning into its normal color. Chinyere gasped. She clamped her hand over her mouth before Adaku could hear her. Then she ran back home as fast as her legs could carry. That night, Chinyere could not sleep. She knew the truth, and she had proof. The next morning, Chinyere gathered the market women. "I saw her in the forest," she told the elders. "She knelt before an anthill, and onions grew out of the ground. They bled before she plucked them." The elders, still doubting, called Adaku and asked her to explain. She shook her head and said, "Lies. My onions are from my late husband's farmland. Chinyere is jealous of me," but then Chinyere played the recording for everyone to see. In the video, everyone saw how Adaku knelt before a giant anthill, whispering incantations, and how she plucked bleeding onions and filled her basket. Gasp filled the air, as people couldn't believe that they've been feeding on evil. Adaku tried to run, but the able young men caught her and pinned her down. They villagers began throwing stones and water at her. They threatened to kill her if she doesn't confess. Scared of death, Adaku revealed something dark. "After my husband's death, I had been poor and desperate. No one offered to help me. I was suffering. So one night, I met spirits in the forest who offered me onions that would never spoil. In return, I promised them monthly blood sacrifices of male children." Scream tore through the village, as people couldn't believe that Adaku was behind the deaths of innocent children in the village. The crowd shouted in anger. Women screamed at her. Men cursed her name. Mothers who lost their sons wailed. The elders shook their heads. "You have brought evil into Umwaka. You cannot stay among us." That night, Adaku was taken deep into the forest and left there. No one ever saw her again. After Adaku's banishment, her stall remained empty. The market looked different without her shining onions. Customers no longer rushed past other sellers. Life slowly returned to normal. Children were told the story again and again. Her name became a warning, and her story was told for generations. Do you think the villagers were right by banishing Adaku?